some time ago, I looked at different Australian accents, or at least 3 of them. And today I'll be looking at American accents. The video is called How to Speak with Different American Accents. I don't know if I'm necessarily trying to speak with an American accent because I don't know. I'm not American, so I don't know why I would try to do that. So yeah, that's not necessarily the purpose of this video, but I just wanted to see and learn more about American accents. So let's go ahead and get started.
So you want to learn about American accents? Well, shoot, I'd say you got plenty to choose from. Today, we're going to talk about some American accents that you might have heard in movies or TV shows. And I'm going to show you some wicked good slang that's used in different parts of the USA.
Doesn't sound that different from the New York accent to me.
And for sure, I'm going to teach you how you can speak with some of these regional accents as well.
And that sounds more like a generic American accent to me. But of course, that comes from my Dutch point of view.
Ready for some fun? Let's do it. Now, you know we got to start with the accent from the greatest city on earth, New York, the Big Apple. Now, there are a few myths about the New York accent, and the biggest one is that such a thing even exists, because different ethnic communities have all developed their own versions of the...
I didn't know there were this multicultural. That's really interesting.
New York accent. But there are a few things that almost every New York accent has in common. And number one is the dropped R. So it's not car, bar, far. It's caw, baw, faw. The R sound at the end of the word is dropped. Number two is the
caw, baw, faw.
Hard TH sound. So if a word starts or ends with a th sound, we're going to turn that into a dental duh or tuh. So the becomes duh. What? You never been to the Bronx? Think becomes think. Use your head, think.
That's so funny because when I was learning English in school, they always used to emphasize that it's the. I guess also because for Dutch people that seems to be a more difficult pronunciation thing, because a typical Dutch accent might sound more like, I'm really bad at doing any accent, even putting on a more Dutch accent. I'm just so bad at it. So that's also why I like watching these different accent videos, because I'm so amazed by how they can just do that. I can't even put on my own accent, like, I don't know. But yeah, they used to emphasize the. So it's really interesting to hear that that's not everywhere.
Truth becomes true. You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, that's a good example of what it might sound like when a Dutch person has like a really heavily Dutch accent. It might sound more like that.
And number three is
the truth. Yeah, the truth instead of truth.
We're going to change the aw sound in words like walk and talk to aw, walk, talk. Don't you walk away when I'm talking to you. Those are the...
Walk, talk. It sounds like, what's the word for it? Tense or something. That's the feeling I'm getting from the New York accent, is this tenseness. Like, talk, walk. I don't know. I'm probably not even doing it right.
Biggest changes, but I'll put some useful links below if you're interested in learning more. Let's move on to accent number two. Now, hold on. Y'all coming down to the South now. And I tell you what, we speak a little different down here. Yes, sir. Now,
This one, it's always really easy for me to tell apart. I don't know. It just has a certain vibe about it too. And it sounds more relaxed, I guess. Like I could see someone just sitting on their porch, just relaxing. when I hear this accent. For some reason, that's what it makes me think of.
Yes, you thought that everybody down south speaks real slow, right? Well, bless your heart, because that's a bunch of bullshit. I mean, that's hogwash. Because right now, I'm speaking with a southern twang accent, which isn't slow at all. It's also a little bit nasal and has what we call a rhotic R. In other words, I'm going to pronounce these words, car, bar, and far. And you could hear that R sound on the end, right? On the other hand, for someone who speaks with a traditional southern drawl, that would be caw, baw, and faw, non-rhotic. And yes, as you can hear, the drawl is typically a bit slower. Besides that, there are two big characteristics of both the southern twang and the southern drawl. And number one is the pin-pen merger. So for southern accents, the vowel sounds eh and eh are pronounced the same way. So this word is pin. But this word is also pin. This word is bin. But this word is also bin.
Whoa. That's basically the same word. So you have to go off the context of the sentence to know what it is.
This is mint and this is mint.
Mint? Mint. I'm minted.
I meant to call you about Ben's pen.
Okay, yeah. It sounds less crazy if you actually put it in a full sentence.
The second point is the I shift. So in standard English, there's what we call a diphthong in words like my, nice, and night. Can you hear how that I sound is actually two sounds pushed together? I, my, night. Well, for a southern accent, we cut off that second sound, which gives us my, nice, night.
Yeah, that makes sense.
My, it's a nice night for watching a YouTube video. Okay, folks, it's
I
time
don't know, I really like the southern accent for some reason. I don't know why.
to pack up the car and head north again because we are talking about the Boston accent. Now, the Boston accent is notorious for being hard to do, and plenty of movie stars have simply butchered it. So what is it that makes a Boston accent so distinctive? Let's talk about the three biggest elements. Number one is that the Boston accent
Yeah, really curious what the difference is between the Boston accent and the New York accent, because it's hard for me to tell the difference.
is definitely non-rhotic. We're going to drop those final R's. Ka, ba, fa. Number two is that the ah sound in words like car and yard shifts to ah. So we have ka, yard. I parked my car in Harvard Yard. And number three is the intrusive.
Sounds really wah. I don't know. I hope this is not offending to anyone, because I don't mean it that way at all, but I'm just trying to make sense of it in my head, what the sounds are. So this sounds more wah to me. And also same feeling as with the New York one. It's a bit more tense, I guess.
R. So the Boston accent not only drops R sounds, it also adds them. If a word ends with a vowel and the following word begins with a vowel, we add an extra R sound in between those two. See if you can hear it. Pizza and pasta are my favorite foods.
Pizza and pasta.
Pizza and pasta. And if you really want to sound like a native, don't forget to throw in some classic Boston slang. Our last stop on today's accent tour is the Golden State, California. And if you really want to sound like a native, don't forget to throw in some.
Let's see. Wicked is very Wickapissa. That sounds funny. Wickapissa is awesome. Bubbler is water fountain. Bubbler? Jimmy's is sprinkles. Grinder is long sandwich. I would have thought a grinder would be more like a... It makes me think of a salt... Oh, I guess they do call it a grinder, right? Salt grinder? Or not? I don't know.
Classic Boston
Oh, wait. Packy is beer store. Ripper is party. That's interesting, because I did the Australian video last week, about Australian slang. And Ripper, we saw that was, I think, like, amazing, right? Like, I remember Bloody Ripper. That was like someone like amazing. At least it was positive. And so here it means party. Rubbish is garbage. That makes sense. I feel like I heard of that. Scorcher is hot day. I feel like I also heard of that. And wicked. But the rest, I didn't know.
Our last stop on today's accent tour is the Golden State, California. And again, there's a bunch of different Cali accents, but the way I'm talking right now is what we might call a NorCal accent. And as you can hear, it's fairly close to a neutral American accent, but there are some subtle differences, so let's talk about them.
It's so impressive to me how he just switches between these, and also how his face seems to change. You know what I mean? Like, the way he speaks in his mouth movements.
One is that
I could never do that.
California accents in general are famous for vocal fry, which is the sound your voice makes when you kind of let it sit in your throat. Can you hear how my voice is a little bit grainy right now? That's vocal fry, and you can hear it all over California. Number two is uptalk, and that's when a speaker ends a statement with a rising tone. Yeah, I lived in San Jose for 2 years, but it wasn't the right fit. My voice is rising at the ends of both those statements.
I did hear that when I was there in California with my boyfriend. I think we were in San Diego, and we were at this restaurant, and I did hear the waitress did that a lot. Like the kind of like everything is almost like a question at the end of the sentence. And that's really interesting to me because in the Netherlands, in the south, we have this province called Limburg, and they kind of do the same thing. But of course, it sounds really different because it's a whole different language. But yeah, that's interesting to me that the concept is kind of the same.
But I'm not asking a question. That's uptalk. And number three is what's called the California vowel shift. And this one is tricky because it's a slight adjustment to the pronunciation of a handful of vowel sounds, as you can see in this chart. I'll give you a few examples. I'll do a standard pronunciation and then the California
I was so confused by that chart.
version. Caught, caught. Rude, rude. Time, time. Book, book.
I might need to replay this.
It's a small shift, but it caught.
Cod.
Rude, rude.
Rude?
Time, time.
Tom? I can't do this.
Book, book.
Book. Huh? This is really hard for me to hear what is different.
It's a small shift, but it's there. And again, if you want to learn more, check out the description box below. And finally, California is famous for its colorful slang, although
Hella is very stoked is excited, bomb is amazing, rat is great. Gnarly is bad, fubbing is ignoring, fubbing. Juke is a discount, bail is to leave, and heavy is serious. Yeah, I knew some of these, but definitely not gnarly and fubbing in juke.
as you might imagine, it's more common to hear young people say things like, dude, these tacos are bomb. And that brings our tour to a close.
Yeah, I feel like those are very well-known slang words. Maybe even all over the world. I don't know. Especially with social media nowadays, I feel like those are pretty vastly used. I don't know if that's the correct way of saying it, but I think you know what I mean. So this gave me a little bit of an introduction into different accents in the US. I can imagine there's like many different accents, but this is interesting to see just how an accent can be different from like New York to Boston, even though I still find it difficult to really know what the difference is. If you think you can explain it a little bit more, then definitely let me know in the comments. But yeah, very interesting to see these differences and just how he could just put these accents on like that. I think that is a real talent and a gift. And if I could do that, then yeah, I might just use these different accents throughout the day to like, I don't know, it just sounds fun. But as I do not have that talent and gift, I will not be putting on different accents, but it's fun to listen to them and to learn more about them.